George Morgan here and Jack Canat.
All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Down through the Mercedes team.
Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
On countdown, Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
And a big good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to PSGL. It's the PSF1 Championship, and we are returning for another great round this week around the Lusail International Circuit in Qatar. It's a little bit different to what we have done in previous weeks. One thing that hasn't changed from previous weeks is the man alongside me. It's Mr. James Head. James, how are you keeping?
This has changed from last week, let's just be honest about that. But good evening, everyone.
So has your co-commentator, to be fair.
Well, welcome along, though, to round number 5 of the championship. It is Qatar, and, of course, the scene of that famous moment that we had last season from Luca Rapazza, Cameron Dowds, Mateo, 3 wide down in towards turn number 1. It was a championship decider in the end. It was a controversial race at that. Are we going to get more like it tonight, like last season? Or are we going to see the consistency of the top 5 like we have seen this season? Only time will tell.
Yes, and 2 of the drivers involved in that controversial race last season are in the top 3 of the championship this season. Of course, on the back of his second win of the season, Matteo is your championship leader by 8 points ahead of the Norwegian of Oscar in second. Cameron Dowd then in third for Alpine, with Rens Tomassen in fourth. Rangan then a big drop back in fifth. Then it is Volakongen, Dirk, Reiderdal, Ryan and Paul. Ryan picking up a post-race penalty last week from Canada, but still managed to finish in the points-paying position. So, not a bad result overall for Ryan. But James, we were saying just a couple of minutes before we went live, and we will say again, the consistency of the top 4 has been unbelievable.
It has been unbelievable, and do you know what? It's like a bit akin to the old PSF1 seasons that we had. The likes of Tom Roberts getting up there, the likes of, I don't know, who else has been F1 champion back in the day? Jarno Opmeer and the likes. Really, really consistent, I think, throughout the season. Matteo, Oscar, Cameron Dowds and Rens have not really been out of the first 4, I've got to be honest, and not even out of the top 5 between all 4 drivers. They were separated by 5 points coming into last week. Matteo obviously extending the championship, goes to 8 points now over Oscar. Cameron Dowds in behind him in third on 42, only 2 points behind him, and 12 points covering the top 4 coming into tonight. It is going to be really interesting to see how we get on. And of course, we saw last season with Matteo, with Cameron Dowds in particular, that big fight that they had down in towards turn 1 with Luca Rapazza. Luca's not here. He's doing PCF2. Matteo and Cameron Dowds, this is their time to get on the podium.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here tonight, folks. It's going to be close action from start to finish, but we expect it to be thoroughly entertaining. The consistency point, definitely a good one, because as we saw with last season's champion Luca Rapazza, he was on the podium for a good string of races together, and that's what these drivers are going to try to do. Make sure to get your pole position prediction in the stream chat, folks, in our poll, and if you've another pick other than the three we have picked, make sure to let us know. But qualifying, James, quite important around here.
It is very important around here. It's normally quite close, honestly, in terms of the times. Normally quite close in terms of the drivers out on track. Of course, Golson, as always, is now on these days within the PSF1 sessions, which means everyone is going to be closer than normal. I think it was a 21.1, if I'm not mistaken, pole position from Rens Thomason last season that we came here. He ended up not even finishing on the podium. So qualifying not necessarily the biggest indicator around here. We have seen the likes of Matteo, Cameron Dowd be toward the top end of the field. Whether or not we get to see that again tonight is going to be seen. But what we can definitely determine right now as we go into the lobby screen, we have got dry weather and everyone is now filtering out of the pit box within 20 seconds, which is great.
Yeah, dry weather around Qatar. Look, I'm not a betting man, but I don't think you get great odds from the bookmakers on that one. The circuit, though, one thing it is beautiful is, and it's beautiful under the lights, James. It's always a good one to look at.
Yeah, a lot of graphical improvements as well on the PS5. I know Evan is. I think you're on a PS5, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah. So you've got all of the graphical enhancements, whereas
I honestly wish that my capture card got all of the graphical enhancements for you guys at home, because I know it can be a little bit dark sometimes, but no, it's very pretty to look at, and they've put a lick of paint around the circuit as well, in the off season, so it's looking very swell, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one who painted it.
Yeah, and also Evan Dalton is the one that showed up to a suit the last time I think that we came here in PSF1.
No,
if I'm not mistaken as well. Certainly for one of the streams, anyways.
Yeah, not for this one though. So don't go back and look that one. I remember I did it for the season 28 or something. No, not 28. And I wasn't even in PSGL, or was I in PSGL back then? I don't know.
Was it in F2?
It was the F2 one with Volakongan winning the championship. I've done too many seasons here. I can't remember what's what at this point. I did about 6 seasons in F2. It could have been any of them. But on more important matters, it is the man who has got us underway a lot this season in qualifying. It is TF10 Dirk, who's coming towards the start-finish line. The Dutchman is going to get the timed runs underway.
He is indeed. Let's run him down in towards turn 1 then. Very long run down in towards turn 1 from the start-finish line. Flicks it now through the right-hander at turn number 1. That really does kick out on you on the apex though, coming out of turn 1. Now through the kink of turn number 2. The left-hander even at turn number 2. Now through the kink of 3. Then in towards my favourite section out on track. This double right-hander at turns 5 and 6. Really got to be on the ball coming through this part of the track. Don't run wide there. Don't run over the curb there. Dirk has done that very nicely indeed. 29.7 in the first sector split. There's a kick sour just in behind him as well. I think that is Casper Flack, if I'm not mistaken, as well. 29.9 as Tallers has left the session. So Dirk currently up on Tallers through that first sector split of the first two that's been through that split.
Yes, Dirk is flying here at Qatar on the Banker Times. Obviously, we'll get plenty of improvements as the circuit improves, as the drivers get more used to this, but this is not bad going so far from TF10 Dirk in towards the triple right-handers. This is turn 12, 13, 14, ferociously quick corners. You've got to be very precise on them in the race. You don't want to pick yourself up a 3-second time penalty, especially in a race that is going to be close-natured. Dirk for the final corner. This will be a valid time on the board. If he doesn't extend for the final corner here, he doesn't, so this one is good as gold for TF10 Dirk. It's going to be a 120.4. Casper Flack going to go behind 2/10 of a second. We've got Brando on a run here as well. He's coming towards the start finish line, only 4th. Ryan able to go 2nd in the Red Bull. Shizu Oscar heading for the penultimate corner now. Williams 1-2 for the time being. Scrap that. Rens Tomasin goes to the top. Championship leader Matteo goes to 3rd. Dirk's lap holding on nicely here, but here comes Shizu Oscar towards the start finish line. He's going to go onto the front row, just about beats the Williams.
Yeah, just about beats him indeed. Cameron Dad's now coming through the final couple of corners on the run toward the line. The Flying Scotsman looking to try and get up there and qualifying, and does go 2nd behind Rens Thomason. So already we are seeing that consistency coming through, I think, from the top 4 in the championship. Rens Thomason, Cameron Dowd, Oscar and Matteo are all in the top 5 right now, which is very good from our perspective. Means it's going to be a close battle out on track. Very good for you guys at home, because it's going to be a close battle for you guys to watch as well. Mustache, by the way, is invalid down there in 19th position. Everyone complete their first runs. Rens Thomason out on top. Cameron Dowd second, Oscar in third. And I'll be absolutely straight with you, Evan. I'm not surprised that they are up there.
No, not really a surprise at all. It's almost like actual Formula One these days, where the top five is usually a given. They just kind of like to shuffle themselves around a little bit. Great lap from the two Williamses, though. Dirk fourth, Max East sixth. That's a steady improvement from the Grove team. They are fifth in the constructors' standings. And that is a nice improvement there. There's an oh god in the other side of the commentary box. What have you spotted, James?
I was just watching on board with Mustache, and the amount of particles that have just
come here we go.
The outside of the track coming through the left-hand return number 15. It's a good job I'm on PS4. Nobody witnessed that because that was ungodly amounts of particles and smoke.
Yeah, the particles, if you didn't watch in Canada, were quite an issue. PSGL got
even in the pit lane.
PSGL got a bit of a viral tweet out of it because it was so bad, and Shizu Oscar feels that he almost lost the win because of it. Oh, they're on the PS5 as well, James. It looks like Oscar's just had a backfire that's straight out of a 1950s Great American Express train. Yeah, not ideal, but we're going to have to roll with it anyways.
Yeah, Particle's almost looking like the Flying Scotsman, to be honest. I think we have got the Flying Scotsman up in second position right now. At this moment in time, Hazara, however, is going to try and go on another run. He has set, he didn't go actually out for his first run, I don't believe. So this might be his first one that he's going on to now. The kick Sauber on the run now down in towards turn number 1. Also outlaps currently Tellez, who is back in the session. I did give him an invite, so he is back in the session, which is good. Tom Roberts, Rotterdam, and Casper Flack all coming out the pit lane. And in fact, everyone's going to come out the pit lane right now on the left-hand side of your screen, as now Hazara comes through the right-hand of turn number 1. Flicking it now through the left-hand of now turn number 2. I sort of miscount these couple of corners, I've got to be honest. Now through the right-hand of turn number 4. I don't know where I go wrong in amongst that, but now coming through the double right of turns 5 and then through the right hand of turn number 6, not looking as good as what Dirk did, I've got to be honest, coming through there. 29.9 is there in the first sector, but judging by Dirk's first sector, which was a 29.8, Hazara is going to be toward the bottom end, I fear here.
Yeah, not necessarily a qualifier. Very good in race trim is Hazara, but I think we say that about a lot of people here in the PSF1 Championship. But middle sector been slightly better. He's just not really on the limit here, James, is my verdict of it. It feels like could push a little bit more through some of the corners. Let's have a look through the triple rights here. You'll hear it in your ears, folks, if he lifts, which he probably shouldn't do, in through the right-hander. No, that's all steady flat there. No downshifts or anything of the like. Then brakes for the left-hander. Okay, final sector been a little bit better for Hazara, but we'll see what the time is as he comes across the timing beam through the final corner, pushes it right out to the apex and pulls it up to the left-hand side. It is going to be 11th position for Hazara, so there's room to work with on that lap, but it's not a bad footing to give yourself.
Definitely not. He is actually up on Tom Roberts in the first sector. Tom's middle sector is 56.7, so at least Tom Roberts is going slow. Casper Pack, though, has crashed coming through the right-hand return number 1 and 2.
Yep, let's have a look here. You can see the Sauber to the right-hand side, and yeah, that's a total crash. Seems like he spun it coming out of the first corner into the wall on the right-hand side. He's way off the apex of the corner. That's a horrible error for the Sauber, and Casper Flack will be starting down the back of the grid. There's only one driver behind him with a timed run, so Casper Flack will not be getting a high starting position here in Losail. Rens Tomasin, on the other hand, a tenth of a second quickest in that first sector.
He is indeed 29.7 in that first sector split. Oscar just on up on his lap. Dirk, by the way, 29.6 in the first sector. Invalid coming through the left-hand return number 6. But Rens Thomason back on board with him now, on board with my end anyways, coming through the left-hand return number 10. Then through the kink of 11, into the right-hand return number 12. And again, 10th and a half up in the middle sector. This is looking good from the current pole man. Of course, it was a 120.1 that he set last season around here in pole position, in qualifying. Is Rens going to do exactly the same thing? Really, really coy. Coming through the left-hand of 15. Now through the right-hand and now turn number 16. On the run to the line, we'll go with Rens. Beautiful usage of the curb. On the run toward the line. Should be a 20.1, 20.2 in the end, but he is getting closer as Brando goes second.
Yeah, Brando goes to second. Great lap from the Ferrari. Volakongan goes to fourth. There's a bit of improvement out in the track. Cameron Dowd's tracking well, 56.4. As Alpha Gully soars, third position for the Seagull. That's a great lap there for him. And Cameron Dowds is coming for the right-hander now. The Alpine Coming through the final corner, we saw brilliant usage of the circuit from Rens to Mass and pushed it right out. I thought it was invalid, but no. Max van der Giesen improves to third. Cameron Dowds onto the front row. Oh, there we go. The challenge has been accepted, and Cameron Dowds with a brilliant run, 0.006. Rayan coming out of the pits just in front. You can see there in the V-carb. There's not many more improvements as Mateo, Marius, Owen, Hazara all back into the pit lane. Mustaches on a run heading through turn number 1. Rens versus Cameron, it seems, in this little bit of a quali shootout.
And is it bad that Cameron Dowds was using very high 6th gear on the run toward the line? We normally see drivers use 7th gear coming toward the line. So has that cost him that 6,000th of a second that he needs to go in provisional pole position with 8 minutes to go in the session? Only time will tell, but that, for me, could have been about a 100th improvement and he would have been on top.
Yeah, could be. That goes to show, though, James, just how close the margins are in this qualifying. The fact that what we're dissecting is literally one gear change heading to the line could decide the order. That goes to show just how close it is here. Tom Roberts is getting ready to go on a lap in the Alpine. Cameron Dowds is teammate. Tom Roberts last season had one win. That win came here at the Lusail International Circuit, just on the outskirts of the capital city of Doha. It was one of 5 podiums he picked up last season. No pole positions. He'd like to change that. Pick up 1 here, but a lot of work to do. No lap on the board just yet through turn 1 and 2, though, looking fairly decent.
Yeah, he's going to hate me for saying this. The experienced figurehead now coming to the left-hand of turn number 3, to the right-hand of turn number 4, and then into the double right of turns 5 and 6. We'll see what Tom Roberts can do. As you mentioned, he picked up that race win because of that absolute carnage that we had on the final 2 laps of the race around here. 29.9 is competitive in the first sector, so looking to go maybe around where the Mercedes are, Volakongan, Oscar, Dirk, Mateo, that sort of area. Interesting that Mateo didn't actually go for another run. Looks like he's going to go for a second run now. 20.458 down in 10th position, looking to try and get an improvement on. Tom Roberts is definitely improving on this lap, though. Now coming through the left-hander of turn number 10, through the kink of 11, before we embark in through the triple right of turns 12, 13 and 14, and a 56.5 in the middle sector. Briefly showed purple on my end. I hate to believe that, to be honest, given by the game. But now coming to the right-hander of 14, into now the left-hander of turn number 15, and then on towards the final couple of corners. Does look really, really nice, I've got to say, within the darkness of the Qatar Lusail International Circuit. Tom Roberts now through the final corner, the experienced man on the run to line. Where does the experience get him? On the 11th.
Only 11th position for Tom Roberts. He's only 2/10 off pole, but he is in 11th position. Even though it's close, you've got to be the one on the top of the closeness. Tales is on his first run of the session. The brilliant Brazilian, 56.4 in the middle sector. That's a decent run there. Dirk as well, I believe, is on a good lap. Just going by the U's and Ahs, 29.7 in that first sector. His first sector was quite competitive on his banker time as well, so nice to see the improvement there for the former PSF2 champion. Tales for the final corner now, a little bit wobbly from the McLaren. It's not going to break any lap records this run, but it's a steady performance from Tales, and he is 12th just on the fringes of the top 10. All but one driver to set a lap. We've one retirement from the session as well, of course. That is Casper Flack, who crashed with about 10 minutes left on the clock. Here comes Dirk for the final corner, just past what used to be the old pit entrance. It's now round here through the right-hander. Dirk, very much on the limit, heading through that final corner. Across the line goes to Williams, not able to beat his teammate, but he's less than a 10th off Rens to Masson. 6 drivers within 1/10.
And Oscar now beginning to try and improve as well. We see also, I think, somebody dropping off the field. Not sure who that was, but Oscar is definitely improving. 700 up in the middle sector, flying through the kick of 14. He lost time, though, coming through there. I've got to be honest. Now through 15, into the right-hander now, turn number 16, the final corner. Now embarking. He has got a little bit of a toe running towards the line, which is off one of the Alpines as well. Oscar to the line, only manages 7th. 800's improvement in the end. He does improve his time rather than his position. Oscar there stays 7th for now. Dirk obviously down in the lap time. Alpha Gully looks like he's going again. It was Max van der Geest, I believe, that improved up into 4th position as well. Brando, though, looking good in the middle sector. The Italian, not the Italian stallion as his teammate. As you spy something?
Yeah, his teammate was heading for the final corner, was improving upon his time, ran very wide and validated it, and then nosedived for the pit lane. Mateo was tracking well, maybe not pole, but certainly to go up near the top. So Brando, the lead Scuderia, the lead prancing horse, heading into the final 4 minutes of the qualifying session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, all in the fight for pole position. Could potentially be more.
Watch out though, choo-choo, here comes Flying Scotsman. Cameron Dowd is up in the first sector, middle sector split, he's up again. 56.3 in the middle sector, Alpha Gully soars to the top, Seagully himself goes to the top there from Ren Thomason in second. Cameron Dowd, though, is still improving on Alpha Gully's lap time. This is looking pretty good from Cameron Dowd's perspective. Flying Scotsman now coming through the right-hander turn number 16. We'll see what the Alpine can do. Absolutely flies. He's in the pit. He is in the pit lane with 3 minutes to go in the session. That could be very costly indeed. That might be one of the biggest decisions all season, potentially from Cameron Dowd's perspective. Into the pit lane, was definitely improving. And now he backfires, coming into the pit lane there as well. But Alpha Gully now out on top. Rens Thomason now in second. Cameron Dowd in third. If Cameron Dowd went, would he have had time to go again? That's why I think he's came in the pits.
He has. I believe that's why. But as one former McLaren star boy heads into the pit lane, their new kid on the block is currently performing in qualifying, and I tell you what, this would be something else if Alpha Gully was able to keep pole position here. His qualifying is done. He's going to have to go full-on Sebastian Vettel Singapore mode and sit in the pits and look at this one and pray to whatever higher power he believes in, whether he can take pole position for this one or not, unless he's another set of tyres. But I highly doubt it, if he's only coming into the pits with 2 minutes to go, that he can get out again. He's currently one of few out on circuit as a couple of drivers are coming back out. The Czech Republic native, no pole positions in his PSF1 career, no wins, no podiums. This would be truly something else, and there is the retirement from Alpha Gully. Now it's going to be the longest 2 minutes of his life, I think.
It is definitely going to be the longest 2 minutes of his life, that is for sure. Rens Thomason, Cameron Dowd all on outlaps. Mustache, I think, is the first to go. Out of sync compared to everybody else. He's going to get a little bit of traffic as well coming out of the pit lane. But Mustache on a 20.588, same as his teammate currently in Barack, who's also got the same amount of time. Mustache now coming through the right-hander though, turn number 1. Flicking it now, coming through the kink. Turn number 2, we'll see what Mustache's first sector will be like and whether or not he's going to be competitive. Fifth gear coming through the left-hander turn number 2, through 3, now into all turns 4 and 5. Mustache is looking pretty good, but fifth gear coming through the first sector,
and
I think it's cost him a little bit of time.
Sixth through yeah, is a bit weird. I've even seen some drivers hold 4th through there. 6th seems a bit high, but they've all got their own individual driving styles, so we won't be one to judge that. He found the time all the same, and Mustache is looking to improve. The two Hasses like to follow each other in this PSF1 championship. They've both only scored points on one occasion, and that was on the same occasion in round number 3 of the championship, and that was in Spa-Francorchamps, where they got a 6th and 7th place finish. So they're currently 16th and 17th here. They'd like to drop the 1. In for the final couple of corners comes Mustache. We'll keep an eye on his time, but we do have to keep an eye on the top 3. Rens Thomason finding time in that first sector. 29.7 for the Dutchman. What's Cameron Dowd's going to do on the battery button, heading through turn number 3 in towards 4 and 5. Let's see what the Alpine will do. We'll get the sector split exiting this right-hander. Is it going to be near Rens Thomason? It is. It's an improvement for Cameron, so this is going to go right down to the wire.
Rens Thomason, though, 56.3 in the middle sector. 800s up. Cameron Dowd needs something special, I think, to try and even fire back, really, at Rens, because Rens is looking better than Cameron through the first sector. 500s up on him in terms of the split times. Cameron Dowd's middle sector will be coming in very soon. Rens Thomason, though, really, really squirrely, coming out through the final corner.
Oh, I'm not sure about this.
With Rens Thomason, does he go top? Yes, he does. 20.120. I think matches near enough for thousandth of a second in pole position. Ryan
Cameron.
Third. Cameron Dowd, though, is looking very good. He's a 10.5 up nearly, coming through the middle sector. Now into all the right-hander turn number 16, the Flying Scotsman. Surely is on pole for pole position here. Much better final call than Rens. On the run to the line. Could even be a 20 flat. Cameron Dowd on the run to the line. 20.1, and it's 4,000th of a second. He doesn't even improve.
What I was going to say was he was 1,000 off Renz in that first sector. Here comes Brando towards the line. Can the Italian take it?
Nice.
No, he can't. Is there going to be a shock from down the grid? The two Williamses are done. Here comes Oscar. He goes to 6th spot. Dirk, he's invalid. Mustache, of course, we saw completed his time. Hazard has done as well. Unless Ryder Dahl has the biggest shock in PSGL F1 history up his sleeve, I don't think we're going to get a swap in pole position here. I think it is going to be Renz Tomasin. And no, Ryder Dahl doesn't match his teammate. Renz, Cameron, first and second. Battle is on for the race.
Battle is on for the race, and judging by the poll that you guys made earlier on, Renz, Thomason and Matteo were tied, 35%. And if you were the person who voted fourth, which was me, I got it right. So I'm very happy with that. Renz, Thomason out on top from Cameron Dowds in second. Alpha Gully there in third. Very good qualifying, I've got to say, from Alpha Gully. Way outperforming my expectations of him, that's for sure. Brando the same in fourth. Marius there in fifth. Oscar in sixth. Ryan in seventh. Then Talas in eighth. Barak in ninth. Matteo there in 10th. Starting from halfway down the field should be a good position for him to start in. Max von der Geest in 11th. Dirk there in 12th. Volokong in 13th. Mustache 14th. Rodadell 15th. Tom Roberts there in 16th. Watch out for him if he's on the set of mediums at the start of the race. Hazara, Owen there down in 18th. No lag warning coming for him, I'm glad to report. Casper Flack there in 19th. And then Rayenu actually didn't get a lap time in there down in 20th position. Myself and Evan are going to take this intermission break. We'll be with you on the other side.
And welcome back to PSGL F1, folks. A very interesting qualifying in Qatar that sees Renz Thomason go on pole position, James. But it couldn't have really been closer between himself and Cameron Dowds, two championship protagonists.
It could have been.
It could have
been a thousand. Yeah. It could have been a thousandth of a second between the both. But
you get my drift.
Exactly. We always get Evan's drift. That's the thing. But there is 4,000ths of a second between Renz and Cameron out on top. For me, Alpha Gully, I think, is the star of that qualifying session. He was out on top by a good 10th of a second over Renz and Cameron up until they improved. And they were the only two to improve beyond this time. And you mentioned there, Czech native, looking for his first pole position. He did very, very well indeed. Potentially could be rewarded with fish and chips later on because he's a seagull there down in third. But he was very, very strong, I've got to say, in qualifying. And for me, definitely one of the shocks. And also, I think, Marius outperforming there down in fifth. Brando down in fourth. All very, very good drivers. It is a wide open race. I can guarantee you that.
It is. Another good qualifying performance, I think, was from Marius, who starts in fifth in the V-Carb. That's an excellent qualifying from him. But he just needs to turn it into an actual good result now, because he has struggled with that in the past.
He has struggled with that in the past, and I think last season, if I'm not mistaken, he had to put out early because of wheel issues and pedal issues, I believe. So it's good to see him back. And in fifth position in Qatar, anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. Marius is certainly going to try and prove that, I think. He did do well for a long way, I've got to say, in Qatar, in Canada last week. He drove very, very well in qualifying, very, very well again in the race. I don't know off the back of my hand where he finished in that race, but Marius did drive well right up until the point where I think everything just changed in terms of complexion, in terms of the race, with the rain and with everything that happened in that race. He is definitely looking, though, best, I think, qualifying for a while, definitely looking for his best result for a while.
Yes, definitely looking for a very strong result here around this Lusail International Circuit. We'll give you a quick look at it now, folks, on the track map. Obviously, you have had 18 minutes of qualifying, but just a brief run through. It is, of course, 5.380 kilometres. 16 corners, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. There's a little bit of an elevation change on it, one that you don't really see picked up by the game. Lap record here, of course, does belong to Max Verstappen. 321 kilometers per hour top speed, which is quite slow compared to some other tracks on the Formula 1 calendar. Rens Thomassen will have to defend a 371 metre run from his grid slot to the apex of the first corner. 68% full throttle. There is a lot of high-speed kinks here at this track, and drivers have about 36 gear changes per lap average. If you want a comparison, it's in and around the 70s in Monte Carlo. It has hosted F1 sprint races in the past, but one big talking point here, James, which is not something we necessarily have to deal with in a simulator, is the heat for the race. It's quite a race of attrition. I'm going to put a sim racing spin onto it here and say it is still a race of attrition because of how close it is on the simulator.
It is very close on the simulator, and it's very close I find around this track in terms of the dirty air around here. If you're following a car, especially coming through the triple right-handers of 12, 13, 14, if you're following a car, you're likely to get thrown off either on the curbs or either by the dirty air. So drivers are going to be very careful for that. Of course, the added factor is the smoke, the particles that this update has provided in the last 2 weeks or so. Definitely going to bring an eye of attention, certainly to you guys, as the viewers, because we certainly will not stand it in the commentary box. That is for sure. But in terms of previous race winners as well, around here, just before we get going, very much indeed, Kai Kinch won around here in season 34, Erpek in season 35, taking it from Max Grosspartner and Vola Kongen, and then, of course, Tom Roberts taking it last season from Matteo and Ryan, second and third position. We're about to get underway, though, for the race. Let us know your predictions in the chat, who you think is going to win this race. I will let you know mine in just a little while, because I haven't decided yet.
Well, that's great, James. We don't have an awful lot of time before we get going, but you keep thinking of that prediction. A lot of different winners. It is difficult to win here in Qatar. Do we have any predictions in the stream chat? No, we don't. They're all still reminiscing of the pole, I think. Let us know your thoughts, of course, in the stream. In terms of strategy, James, we usually see the utilisation of the hard tyre a lot around here.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching F2 a little bit earlier on. There was a couple on a set of medium compound tyres, but do not do what Dirk did around here, and I am going to name drop them. WR Legacy Division last season. Lads in Qatar, right up until the final lap of the race, got a puncture on the final lap of the race on about 25 lap old hards, I think it was. And Dirk deserved to win that race, and in the end, he ended up with a wooden spoon and finished in last place. But Dirk certainly will be looking to try and right the wrongs of everything. But in terms of the strategy, set of hard compound tyres, I'm imagining a majority of them will go on it. The likes of Tom Roberts, though, further down the field, I think he stopped, P15, P16? I guarantee you he might be on that set of medium compound tyres because he's got to make up the ground from somewhere. And if he does make up the ground, why not go for a set of medium compound tyres, put yourself in the mid-pack going into the second half of the race, and put yourself in the right chance of getting a good result.
Yeah, I like that call. James, have you got your prediction?
I have got my prediction. I am going to go Cameron Dowds for the race win.
You're actually not the only one who's gone Cameron Dowds either. Sim Wars in the stream chat saying he's going to have to stick with his fellow Scotsman and go for Cameron for the win. So let us know, folks, your other predictions even after the race starts. It's an interesting decision. Cameron usually very good in race trim compared to qualifying, and he starts second. So there's only one position he can go to make it better. But we are here at the Lusail International Circuit, folks. It's been a cracking PSGL F1 season so far. We have had many good drives. We've had consistent performances. We've had particle troubles, but it all comes here to Qatar. And Qatar usually at the end of the season, which makes it a vital point in the championship, could still be a vital point in the championship here in the middle of a season. This is going to be make or break. And as the red lights are coming on, it's Rens Thomason on the outside on pole, Cameron Dowds on the inside. We go racing here in Qatar. That's a great race start for Cameron Dowds, who's already up alongside Rens Thomason into the first corner. The Scotsman is going for the race lead. Rens Thomason tries to sling it around the outside. Cameron Dowds on the medium compounded tyre leads here in Lusail. Rens has been caught out on the tyre choice. Alpha Gully still there in third. Big positions gained for Owen in the background in 14th position. The Ferrari of Matteo losing spots. He's got Dirk on the outside here. Dirk on the mediums. Another man looking to try and make moves. He's now up 3 positions as they break for the left-hander. It's split strategy here at the front. It's Cameron Dowds who leads.
And Cameron Dowds needs to steal away from Rens Thomason, because this is the only opportunity that he'll get. Try and string out Rens Thomason to be on the second and try and really bring out the gap. I did this around here in my league race around here, and I won around here, and I've got to just admit that right now. And Cameron Dowds is doing hopefully what I inspired to do and win around here in Qatar. He's got a 5.5% lead. Rens Thomason in second, Alpha Gully in third. There's been position changes up and down the field. Bullockongan and Rydal side by side along the back on the Geese in the mid-pack. Everyone really going well. Only 5 drivers though on a set of mediums. Cameron Dowds, Alpha Gully in the top 3, along with Barak and Dirk in the top 10. Max on the Geese getting the move done on Rydal, just spied in the background, and Owen as well, also on that set of medium compounded tyres. End of lap 1 though, Cameron Dowds, for a second I thought he was going to get away, but in the end he's just happy and content for Rens Thomason and Alpha Gully to have a fight behind. And here comes the checkman of Alpha Gully, down in toward the right-hander. The turn of 1, much fresher medium compounded tyres compared to the durable hards. And Rens Thomason, I think, is just going to hold him. Say he does. He holds him for second.
Yeah, Alpha Gully struggled on that first lap, though. He's used a lot of battery to get into the position he is in. Rens Thomason's actually used quite a bit as well, because he's looking to keep up with Cameron Dowds here. So the McLaren maybe not in as bad a position as we first thought. Owen is your biggest gainer so far. 6th positions gained, up to 11th for the stand-in, the former PSF2 driver who took 2 wins last season. Didn't race an awful lot, though, so I'm pretty sure it was a 100% strike rate. Dirk back down the inside of Matteo. The former teammates, they won a championship together back in PSF2. They're both PSF2 drivers champions. Matteo, of course, a PSF1 champion, something Dirk potentially aspires to be, but Dirk has got the move done on Matteo for the time being. Could be due to the tyre compounds. We'll see in the late race pace. They're a true reflection of how they are driving, but Dirk the quicker of the 2 for now. Still Cameron leading, has not dropped Rens crucially here, James, and the DRS is active.
Definitely not yet. DRS is activated, and Alpha Gully's going to have a really good chance at the back of Rens, running down in towards turn 1. Rens, though, was always quicker, coming out of the final corner, certainly there on lap 2. But here comes the Seagull, about to fly to the outside now, coming through turn number 1. Rens Thomason only has to sit back and relax, I think, for this position. Surely Alpha Gully, half a car length ahead, 3/4 of a car length ahead. Now, only cars width between them, and Alpha Gully does get the move in the end. The checkman Thurney's into second. Rens Thomason there in third. Brando there in fourth. Marius there in fifth. There was Where Eagles Dare, Where Seagulls Fly, I think is going to be the next movie.
I'm not sure what sort of setup Rens Thomason is running, but it doesn't like that first corner. He has a little bit of a bobble and has to catch it almost every single time. You saw it there as we were coming off the corner, as we were in the far camera. You just saw Rens just sliding through the corner where Alpha Gully had it much better planted through there. So Rens Thomason struggling potentially a little bit. He just needs to bed down in third here, leader on the hard tyres, and just try and get something out of this first stint, because all the crucial moves will happen later on in the race. It is Cameron Dowds, your race leader, Alpha Gully second, Rens Thomason in third, and it's Brando, Marius, Oscar, Barak, Ryan, Dirk, Matteo. Those who had good qualifyings, James, Alpha Gully, Marius, Barak, they're all staying pretty much put here, so a positive start for those guys.
Yeah, very positive start for those guys indeed. Most positions gained, though, further down the field is the man of the Irish. Owen there, down in 11th position, has gained 7 positions out of everyone. 3 gained for Dirk, 1 gain for Rydal further down the field. Barak looking to gain position from an absolute different parish to the inside line. In towards turn number 1, on the back of Oscar, gets a bit snappy coming through turn 1. Ryan was retired out of the race, clearly feeling maybe either under the weather or clearly feeling that this is not up to standard for him. He is retired there in the pit lane. Here comes Barak again on the back of Oscar in toward the right-hander turn number 4. Now to the right-hander turn number 5. The Spaniard falls to the Norwegian out wide, and the Spaniard gets the move done. Barak through, and he's into 6th position. But they've got to be careful because that gap is tilting towards the second.
Yeah, Tom Roberts, 3-second time penalty. He knows how important it is to keep a clean slate on the penalty front here after his win last season. He's down in 16th as a 3-second penalty. There has been better days in Qatar for Tom Roberts. Look at this from Owen. My goodness me! Round the outside. Are you serious? That's ridiculous. In towards the left-hander. Now they're still side by side. Red Bull and Ferrari. Matteo trying the long way around the outside. Absolutely not. That door's been slammed shut. What a move from the Red Bull.
Oh, he's taken inspiration from another former PS champion here in PSGL, and that's another Irishman, and Evan Dalton sitting alongside me in the commentary box.
It wasn't me who brought it up this time.
Did you ever pull off a move like that in your career, Evan?
I did.
Not,
I
but
did.
Alpha Gully for the race lead. Gonna swap with Cameron down. Sorry to put you off what you were saying there. Coming down in towards 7-1. Alpha Gully ahead of Cameron. There's also 3 wide in the background. Maxwell McGee, full of Congan and Rodadal. Aiken to a bit of Luca Rapazza, Matteo and Cameron Dowd from last season. And Maxwell McGee's hangs on to P13 in the end. But Owen clearly taking inspiration from the only Irish PS champion here in PSGL, and that's Evan Dalton alongside.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am the only Irish PSGL champion, actually.
Yeah.
Unless Owen's won a few in the past. I know Dara Smith didn't win any, but yeah, you know, it's a good little statistic. You never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or Evan Dalton what tier he actually won in PSGL, so we won't go any further on that. But nonetheless, brilliant move from Owen, and he's up to 10th. Both Red Bulls having a steady race. Owen obviously is stand-in. He's here tonight replacing Paul, but Ryan and Owen both having cracking drives, 7th and 10th respectively. But the crucial thing we got to remember here is that the guys who are making the moves now are on the mediums. They're going to have to run the harder tire later in the race, and the other guys will get their chance to make a move. Brando, a little bit wide for the final corner, nothing to write home about.
Yeah, nothing to write home about. Marius, to be fair, was wide coming through turn number 12 as well, so they're both very much equal on that. Renz Thomason equal to the fact that he's going to try and get Cameron in towards turn number 1. He is closing in. Don't think this move is going to happen. No, they're going to run line astern in towards turn 1. Dirk pulling out the slippery on Barak, though. Might be a move. Oh, Barak nearly cuts across him there, but the Williams still gets up the move on the inside. Beautiful move by Dirk. Throoney's into 8th position. Barak there in 9th. Cut him off at the pass. Nearly come off a little bit too late and cut a little bit of his front wing off. But in the end, Dirk there through into 8th. Barak there in 9th. And then Owen down there in P10. The Irishman trying to hunt now on the back of the Spaniard. Dirk there in front of them as well. The Dutchman looking to try and get onto the back of the likes of Ryan and Oscar. And again, for the second time, I was going to make this point actually before this gap closed in. That gap between Marius and Oscar is tilting over towards the second mark again. And that split potentially could happen. But Ryan is not really doing anything in behind. He's just gone 7 as ERS behind. It's good news for Oscar, but he's doing a lot of the donkey work right now to even catch on the back of the front 5. Yeah,
he is, and he's trying to do the donkey work. Is he going to be able to pull it off? That's another thing. Not burning the battery through here. He's settling for now. He will still get the DRS, but this train at the front, it's kind of slowing down a little bit, really. You'd expect them to trying to be soar off into the sunset, but they're all bunched together. Brando's made a few mistakes, and now look at that! Clipping the DRS board is Renz Thomason. Here we go. Here's Cameron Dowd's going for the race lead. Thomason's going to follow through into second. Alpha Gully loses 2 into the 1. And that is now Cameron Dowd, your new race leader. It's all just getting a little bit bunched up the top.
It is indeed. Owen again on the back of Barak coming to the left hand. And now turn number 3. Oh, Barak sideways. Not sure if there was a bit of decent contact there between them both. Matteo, though, says thank you very much to the inside line. In towards turn number 4 and 5. Surely going to get the move done on the Italian. Owen still tries to hang it around the outside. You can do one. I can do one better, says Matteo. Thurney's into 10. Gets one back on Owen from early on. This now scores a piece 1-1.
Yep, Hazara, fastest lap of the race. He boxed for soft tyres. It's a peculiar strategy, but he's obviously praying for a safety car or some form of intervention in this race to get him back into it. The Sauber is currently 17th and 19th. It's sort of reflective of where Kick Sauber has been in real life. They're looking to turn that around if we do get a safety car on. There's no move around the outside on this lap. Matteo has found his mojo, and the championship leader is in 10th. But there's still more to come from him in this race. He is a second stint man, and once the pit stop phase has been completed, he'll be on the mediums as opposed to Cameron, Alpha Gully, etc. and he will be a man on the move. Has a full tank of battery, or near enough a full tank of battery, certainly more than those guys at the front of this race. Speaking of the front of this race, Rens Thomassen is going to return to the race lead for the first time since he lost it on the opening lap of the Grand Prix. Alpha Gully not able to sneak past Cameron Dowd's, not able to go 2 in the 1 past Cameron like he suffered on the last lap. Brando as well in 4th, I should say. Just kind of sitting pretty here, James. He's saved the battery and is definitely a threat to this race.
He is definitely a threat to this race. He's almost taken like what Matteo did around here last season, and he ran pretty much full amount of battery. Obviously, Matteo got involved in that contact through the left-hander turn number 6 last season. But Brando is doing a very, very good drive right now. Very, very consummate, not using up his ERS too much. He has got, though, a little bit of a threat because Rens Thomassen's just trying to eke away now out in front. Maybe the mediums are beginning to get on the back foot somewhat towards the compounder tyres. The hard compounder tyres certainly working, and Rens Thomassen is gapping Cameron Dowd at the minute in time. 7 tenths per second, 7.5 tenths. Now coming through the right-hander turn number 14 again. Just looking on the threat, on the bubble, potentially, that Cameron Dowd could drop out, but I don't think he will. Tallez picked up a 3-second penalty further down the field. There is a bit of a run wide as well from Barak in the background as well, coming through the left-hander turn number 15. But Rens Thomassen leads. He will definitely lead down in towards turn 1. Just a case of whether or not anybody wants to really go for a move in towards turn 1. And I think the answer to that, maybe apart from Alpha Gully and Cameron Dowd, is no. May get, though, Matteo against Barak for P10.
Yeah, the battle for 10th has been a good one today. We've had Dirk versus Matteo, Owen versus Matteo, Barak versus Matteo. It's been an interesting one, an interesting position. Has 9th, 10th and 11th been so far in this Qatar Grand Prix, as Barak has just disconnected from the session while in 10th position, and now Owen is at the back of the Haas, and now his race is severely jeopardised. He needs to get past this AI car immediately. That has caused a whole world of problems for Owen and Tallez.
Yeah, and I have just given Barak another invite in to hopefully he can try and get back in if he can. Brando on
and Owen has damage. And Owen has damage, and Tallez is off the road into the gravel. That is Tallez's race gone. Owen has damage. That's an absolute cracker from me. Just as we say, 10th is an interesting position. It really has given us something interesting to talk about.
And do you know what? Do you know the reason why Owen's got damage? It's because Barak is in AI, but he's not ghosted. That is why that Owen has picked up damage, and that is why Max von der Geese and Mustache, he better take control of his car immediately, and now Max von der Geese, I think, might have a little bit of damage on that car as well, because that car is literally like a rolling roadblock. He is just lost again, and this is utterly ridiculous. What is the AI even doing? It's not Barak's fault that he's left the session. Cameron Dowd's looking for Rens for the race lead, and also Brando and Alpha Gully beginning to try and kick things off towards the front end of the field. Toward the back end of the field, though, Barak's AI, whether it's ghosted or not on my end is a different thing, certainly doesn't look ghosted to me.
No, it's not.
It should be, and he's down in P17. So clearly, something again has gone wrong with this patch update, and that's just another hot fix that they need to make in the next patch update. I'm sorry, Cody's, but Barak doesn't deserve that whatsoever. He tried to rejoin the session, can't take control of his car, down there in P17. That P10 battle is over with, and Rotterdam now 3 seconds inferior to Matteo.
Yep, that's 3 races that have gone down the drain, unfortunately, here in Lusail. And we will, I'm sure, have an angry Barak, an angry Owen, and an angry Tallez after this race, because things were looking decent for Owen and Tallez, especially. Barak, obviously, the unfortunate one to suffer that disconnect, and the Spaniard is now way down the order and pretty much out of this one. And I tell you what, it's been pretty clean sailing here in Lusail, apart from that, so a safety car is not looking too likely. There's no real close walls to find here, unless your name is Casper Flack in qualifying, where he managed to find one. Huzzah! First pitters are in. That is Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully.
And Alpha Gully nearly overtakes Cameron Dowds into the pit lane. Jeez Louise, what on earth was he doing? He got absolutely hopped up on the brakes. He managed to get it stopped just in time before the pit lane board. But his mechanics now changing the car on just at a hard compounder tyres. Cameron Dowds on just at a hard compounder tyres. Put it this way, if that was a team event, that would have been very interesting. Yeah, both Shazoo drivers, of course, as is the man behind them, Shazoo Owen now.
But to overtake someone in the pits is one thing. To do it at full racing speed is quite another. And I think that might have just been a complete mistiming of the brakes from Alpha Gully rather than a genuine attempt. But they're 16th and 17th. Keep an eye on them. We expect this front crew to run that little bit longer.
If it was a genuine attempt, put it this way, it would have been very entertaining in the party that they're in. Oscar on the back of Marios on the back of Brando. Look at the gap though, 1.5 seconds. And Renz Thomason is still going to go win this race. He's still going to try and get at these hard compounder tyres. Now, the sort of hard compounder tyres for me, if they've pitted in, lap 10, lap 11 going on to for Alpha Gully and Cameron Dowd from their mediums, what are they going to do on a set of hard compounder tyres? I'm imagining they go to about lap 16, lap 17, pit in 12 laps on a set of mediums towards the end of the race. But the mediums are very, very hard wearing around this track. Compared to other tracks where they're normally very durable, this is going to be interesting. Dirk now pits in as well, proving my point that the mediums really beginning to drop off the cliff. Are we going to get a 2-wide moment in towards turn 1? Oscar on the back of Marios for P2. Not quite, but we do get a 2-for-1 move. Marios through on Oscar. Oscar through on Brando. Brando now dropping to 4th. Both of them now ahead into 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the tyres. I think they're going to try to get to about lap 16-ish and then go for the mediums, as the only man currently on the medium tyres is Barak, who is looking to just find a way back into this race. It's not easy to do. Hazara, despite pitting very earlier on and going on to the very fast set of soft tyres, is still down in 19th. We only get the one retirement, but that might increase towards the end of the race, or more specifically after the pit stop window. You can see the racing line forming through there, through the triple right-handers, all drivers following the same route. Crucially for Renz here, James, he has pulled out of a second, so he, in one way that seems good, and in another way it seems negative. My take on it is that he can kind of just focus on himself now, but in another way he's not going to be DRS and slipstreaming other cars and swapping with them to get that little bit of a boost down the straights. He is now just a lone soldier.
Yeah, he is a lone soldier. Marius is going to be absolutely done for down the straight here and towards turn 1. Marius has got barely any battery. Oscar doesn't need to use any. Passes them down in towards turn 1. Job done. Oscar Thurney's into 2nd. Marius there in 3rd. And we said early on, and I said early on, that he was doing the donkey work. He has to do the donkey work again to try and catch back up to Renz Thomason. And if there's anybody that you want, it's Oscar, who's there in P2, Renz there in P1. This gap will now drop under a second, and this gap now will Constantina up. Is it good news, though, for Alpha Gully and Cameron Dowd? Because they're clearly working together. They're, in fact, actually fighting through the right-hander of turn number 1, down straight in towards turn 1. Cameron now ahead of Alpha Gully. So they're clearly working together out on track within the Team Chazoo sort of lineup, I guess. But are they actually going to gain any time? Because the gap between Renz and Cameron Dowd right now is 25.9 seconds. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, pit lane loss is about 27 seconds around here. So Renz Thomason and Oscar are only going to be 1.5 seconds behind these guys if they pit in now, which they're not. I think the advantage is with these guys who are on a set of hards rather than the guys on a set of going on to a set of mediums even, rather than the guys on a set of hards right now.
So, lap 13 at 29, Renz Thomason, your race leader here at the Lusail International Circuit. If you're just joining us, folks, perfect timing. We've got a very interesting stage of the race coming up. Please make sure to show your support for PSGL by popping a subscription on the YouTube channel, and that greatly supports all of us here. Marios goes for 2nd position. Ryan looking to try and fling it around the outside of a Ferrari. He's now put himself under pressure from another Ferrari right behind. The Mercedes of Oscar is kind of in the middle of the Brando and Marios fight now, and he might be under pressure from Brando. Brando burning the battery, heading for the right-hand kink. That's a peculiar one. You would have thought he would have been just saved through the rest of the circuit, saved for the main straight. Fastest lap of the race goes to Cameron Dowd. Doesn't really come as a surprise. They are two very quick drivers on freshest tyres in the field, bar Hazara, who has just pit for that set of hard tyres. As Ryan, looks down the inside of Brando, and they make contact down to 5th and 6th, still with Matteo, but that's caused another little schism in this train.
And him and Dirk collided coming through the circuit of the Water Champion chicane in Canada. And now he's gone for an audacious move again on the back of Brando. He went for an audacious move last week, goes for one this week. Is that going to be worthy of penalty? Probably not. Hasn't really lost them much time. It hasn't really cost them any positions either. Brando there in 5th. Ryan there in 6th. But Ryan now has to take full responsibility for that, I'm afraid. Brando there in 5th is ahead of him. He will be very annoyed, but they're just going to calm each other. Just got to cool it down. But in the end, he went for an audacious move, didn't pull off. Oscar, though, goes for the easiest move you'll see all night, down the straight in towards turn number 1. Even before we get to the corner, Oscar through and he's into 2nd. Renz Thomason now the gap, only at 9/10 of a second. And for you guys who are absolute nerds like me in the commentary box, Renz Thomason and Cameron Dowd's gap to the leader, 24.9 seconds. That gap is not coming down quick.
No, it isn't. Two TF10 boys having a scrap here for 11th. This is Thalès and Max van der Gies. Neither have taken a trip to pit lane yet. Max was performing very well in qualifying, but he's down in a dogfight here in 11th. So disappointing for the Williams. Currently in the championship is Max van der Gies. He's currently in 11th position, but I tell you what, it's been an improvement upon 2 seasons ago for Max van der Gies, where he didn't score any points in the F2 championship. Now he's wheeling it for the fringes of the points here in PSGL F1. So overall, he's still a driver on the up, and we will be keeping an eye on this battle throughout the rest of the evening. Hazara 30 seconds down in last, but we have a comment coming through to us from Thomas, who says he used to race with Hazara and that he's a top bloke. And I suppose you can see he's a top bloke because despite literally having no hope in this race, James, he's still carrying on.
You never know, though. A safety car, VSC deployment, then a full safety car could easily bring him into contention. Matteo is into the pit lane. Interesting. That is early, I think, from my perspective. Matteo into the pit lane. Clearly wants to try and make the medium compound tyres out. I remember him saying to me once upon a time in an interview that he did, I don't get why nobody goes for this strategy. He's going onto his medium compound tyres, but he's pitted in early. This is audacious. Alpha Gully and Cameron Dowd's coming out through the final corner. Matteo's going to be miles behind, even behind, I think, Dirk coming down the start-finish straight. They are on the right-hand side. Matteo will be behind Dirk, but crucially, he's going to be hopefully within a second of Dirk coming out the pit lane. Brilliant news of the Italian stallion. Just be on the watch for live Cameron Dowd and Alpha Gully right now, because I think they're going to be in trouble towards the end.
Yeah, Matteo, I should say, has always been one to go for intriguing strategies, and he's looking to play it off here again. Lap 16 to 29. I don't think it's too early. I think it's untraditional, but I don't see any issue in getting those tyres to the end if he manages them. He does have the DRS from Dirk here, but crucially, he almost needs other cars to pit to sort of fill the void between Cameron and Alpha Gully. But remember, come the end or come this part of the race, those medium tyres are so much quicker than Cameron and Alpha Gully's hard tyres. This is going to be a very interesting end to the race. It could go multiple ways. Renz, Tomas and Oscar into the pit lane. We'll keep an eye on them in retrospect to the drivers in 14th and 15th.
And there's actually drivers continuing on. Volokongan, Rodadal, Tom Roberts, all teammates, all not coming in the pit lane, pretty much. And Volokongan and Rodadal side by side, down in towards someone. Rodadal now takes the race lead from Volokongan in 2nd. Tom Roberts there currently in 3rd. Then Max van der Gies, Thalès and Moustache in a separate battle. They'd be hoping, I think, for a VSC or a safety car. Cameron Dowd, by the way, set fast up the race. Look at where they're coming out, though. Renz Thomason, Oscar, Marios, right in between the middle, and Matteo has only gained positions on Dirk and on Brando. So that is an interesting ploy. Renz Thomason now is the one having to do the donkey work. Barak is involved in this battle as well. Gets out the way, very respectful driving, I'm going to say, from Barak there. Getting out the way of the Alpha Gully Cameron Dowd's battle, but actually brings Renz Thomason, Oscar, Matteo directly into play. And already that gap is closed within a second. If you're telling me Cameron Dowd and Alpha Gully are going to win this race right now, I'd have a £5 bet with you that they're not. And I think they're going to be towards 5th, 6th, rather than actually being out on top.
Let's see then, this is where driver skill makes a difference, is in situations like this. Let's see who has that skill as Renz down the inside of Barak. That was risky. We just cut to the onboard just as we saw it. He has got it done, but has lost the DRS window. That's invited Oscar through as well. Things were a lot more simple for Oscar than they were for Renz Thomason. And is Renz going to get DRS through here? you would like to think so, because he'll have so much grip through this next corner. Oscar's right in his tail, and Oscar almost having a mid-corner slide as well. Tala is into the pit lane as Volakongan overtakes Ryder Dow for the race lead. He does have DRS. Alpha Gully and Cameron have drained their batteries, as has Renz, as has Oscar. Barak obviously not in this one, as they're going to go 3 wide down the straight. Barak will be taken by Mateo and by Renz Tomasin. Or sorry, not Renz Tomasin, Marius. So Oscar gets past Renz Tomasin. Mateo and Marius get past Barak there. Your only changes for now. Race on.
Yep, and Renz Thomason didn't have DRS. The detection point is coming to the left-hand of turn 15 at the final corner, and Renz Thomason didn't have the DRS, but now he does. He's got Oscar in front of him. He's got Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully. He's got a wall of Shazoo, I'm going to call it, right in front of him right now. And Mateo, Marius in behind as well. It's almost as if we're getting a recall of a team event that I commentated on not too far back around here in Qatar between E10 and Team Shazoo.
Gully.
Very close from Alpha Gully. Sideways completely coming out the left-hand of turn number 7 there. Cameron Dowds, Oscar, Renz Thomason running behind as well. This race is eyeing up very nicely indeed. I wouldn't rule out, though, the likes of Mateo, Marius, Brando, and that little second group that we've got at the minute. I would not rule them out, but currently, if you're saying to me who's going to win this race, I'd be with Renz.
So let's see how this one plays out. Some of them need to start saving their battery a little bit, I think, if they want to play the long game here. And obviously you've got to play the long game because you've got to last until lap 29. Keep yourself in good positions. Is this going to be the first swap between medium tyre and hard tyre? It absolutely is. Cameron Dowds pivots for the lead. Shazoo Oscar wants them both. He's hungry for more. Renz Tomasin's going to fling it around the outside of Oscar. That's brave. Renz Tomasin's going to sling it around the outside of Cameron Dowds. Oh my goodness me, take a bow, Renz Tomasin. That's a thing of beauty. That is unbelievable. Oscar follows through, gets past Cameron Dowds as well. Is that brave or what from Tomasin? My, oh my, we've seen drivers pull out all the stops here this evening.
Oh, Renz Thomasin has just proved out to be the move of the season, I think. That was audacious. It was absolutely brilliant. He had the grip on the tyres to go so far around the outside of Cameron Dowds. Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully's tyres are probably, what, 20% difference between Renz and Oscar's right now? And that is definitely telling, because these two now, Renz and Oscar, if Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully can't stick with the front two here, in this net lead of the race, with Volakonga, Mustache, Max on the Geese all to come in the pit lane, presumably for a set of soft compounder tyre, Renz Thomasin and Oscar can easily pull away. Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully now are the one that's going to be fed to the fish, because Mateo and Marius and Brando are all in behind here as well. So that C Gully now in 7th position, going to have to be watching out. It's not him now that's going to be catch of the day. It's certainly going to be these guys in behind, because Mateo, Marius, Brando are going to be absolutely on him down into the straight, down in towards turn number 1. Is Mateo going to risk it for a move? He has to, because he's got the speed. He's got the audacity to go for the inside line, as does Marius to the inside line and towards turn number 1. They're simply chopped off at the pass. Coming to the right hand and now turn number 1. Shooting with the traction though. Marius is going to go all the way around the outside of turn number 2. Not quite close enough. Maybe in towards 3 and 4. Not quite. But Alpha Gully just about hanging on here.
Yeah, Alpha Gully, he's keeping with them, but he is plummeting like a large stone through a big pool of water. And is Marius going to dive down the inside? Oh, he looks for it. Oh, that's close. And Brando right close behind as well. Marius knows that he needs to get a move on because he is suffering here. He doesn't want to be stuck behind Alpha Gully for too much longer, but there's not an awful lot of overtaking opportunities that can present themselves in this middle sector unless he gets a great run through here and goes for it into the triple right-handers. But he's not had a great run through there. Compromised his entry, was looking for the exit, but he's not really got either, and now he's under pressure from Brando. It'll have to be a turn 1 move this from Marius, you would think. But even then, that might be too late. He might be overtaken by Brando. We will wait and see, though. Gap between Cameron and Oscar, 1.2 seconds. It is Renz Tomasin versus Shazoo Oscar for the time being. Marius still struggling behind. He's going to be overtaken by Brando here. Brando's going to get the pair of them. Volakongan into the pit lane.
Yeah, Volakongan into the pit lane as Mateo passes Cameron Dowds for 3rd position, out on track, or net 3rd position, as it is right now. But he gets them done easily. Brando gets Marius done easily in towards turn 1 as well. So the two Scuderia Ferraris getting the move done into net P3 and P5 right now. Perfect, though, if you're Cameron Dowds right now, because Cameron, I did say him, he's going to win the race, and right now he's looking really, really bad out on track with those hard compounder tyres. But Mateo now can do the donkey work. He can get back within a second. This is going to be Cameron down to saving grace, but they've gone for broke. They really want these tyres to try and get to the end of the race. But in the end, Alpha Gully's dropping like a stone. Cameron Dowd is soon going to drop like a stone if he's not careful. He's losing time to Mateo hand over fist. And do you know what? I think there's going to be a split here. Oscar and Renz Thomason going to try and work together. This concerns 3 drivers for me now, Evan. It's Oscar, it's Renz, it's Mateo, I think, for the race win. Cameron Dowd at this moment in time does not have the grip on those tyres, does not have the pace on those tyres to try and live with the guys in the set of mediums.
The hard tyre's not in a great position right now, and Cameron Dowds and Alpha Gully are unfortunately showing that. Dirk as well, 2.4 seconds off Ryan. Remember, he was with Mateo, who is in 5th position. The front 2 on the hards still yet to pit. Mustache just pits now as Renz Thomason is going to go for the lead of the race. Pulls past the Mercedes of Shizu Oscar, and he is into the lead. There's going to be a swap as well. Marius gets past Cameron Dowd. So that lap stuck behind Alpha Gully hasn't really affected Marius. He is still with the 2 Ferraris, who are trying to catch Oscar and Renz. The thing here is, James, they aren't even doing the donkey work, even burning all their battery. They're still not as quick as 2nd and 3rd.
Yep, and Mateo has got to be very, very careful here, because I think what this race is going to turn into is Renz Thomas and Oscar swapping positions. None of them wants to take the race lead. This will bring Mateo directly and Brando and Marius directly into play, because they are the guys catching onto the back of this train. Renz and Oscar play funny games onto the final couple of laps of this race.
Max van der Geest is doing them a favour.
Max van der Geest, though, was doing them... Yeah, exactly. Max van der Geest, right in there, is now doing them an absolute favour. And Max van der Geest, I don't think it's going to be within a second, but it's going to be very close to a second. Max van der Geest still doing very well out on track, trying to do the dirt, as I'm going to call it around here, in the Williams. For him, Mateo, though, losing time, actually, coming to the triple right as turns 12, 13 and 14. Renz right on the back of Max, Oscar right on the back. These 2 get freed up. Might be game over, potentially, for the Scuderia Ferraris, as I think Max van der Geest was aiming to come in the pit lane there. Oscar, though, was going to try and get the double train down towards turn number 1. Easy as you like, and Oscar will drop into behind Renz Thomason, because right now, he does not want to lead, and the worst place to be, Evan Dalton, around this track, is in front.
I have to hand it to Max van der Geest there, actually, because it was very respectful racing. He is an affiliation to literally no one in the battle for the win here, so he just drove his own line. He's driving his own race. That's what he's entitled to do, and it was the responsibility of the others to get past, and they did do that, so hats off to Max van der Geest. Sometimes we see some drivers look for their moment in the limelight when they're in front like that, and they like to play around with a few drivers in the division, but no funny business from Max van der Geest, and a job well done there. 1.4 seconds between Oscar and Max now, 5 tenths back to Mateo. This is looking ever more so like it's going to be a 2-horse race, James.
It is, and it's going to be good for the championship, because Mateo currently is dropping points. He will not lose the championship lead if he goes past Max van der Geest and gets a 3rd position out on track, but he will lose the championship lead, potentially, if Oscar can try and find past Renz Thomason, or Max van der Geest made a mistake there, and that is not good news for Mateo, because he's now directly been involved, nearly, slightly again, and Max van der Geest coming out so slow, coming through the final corner. He's been fed to the fishies. Brando to the inside line now, down in towards turn number 1. Marius is not keeping up, though, with the 2 Ferraris. Ferraris will swap 3rd and 4th position for Brando and Mateo, respectively. Brando now 2.5 seconds. Anybody in the comment section can come at me for this, but I'm going to call it now. Oscar Renz Thomason for the race win. That gap at this stage in the race for me is too big.
Yeah, the sky is also blue, James, if you want to put a bet on that one as well while we're here. But, yeah, no, 2.3 seconds are not catching that. It's now going to be a fight for the podium between Brando, Mateo, and Marius. Unless we get a safety car intervention, I can't see the battle for the race win changing. But the good thing is, the battle for the race win is not decided. Oscar and Renz Thomason have both had their moments this season. They've both had their moments this evening in Qatar. Last season, of course, remember, Renz Thomason took 2 race wins, 4 podiums. Oscar, no race wins, 2 podiums. It's been a different ball game this season completely, as Oscar has the 1 race win. Renz Thomason does not have a race win, but he does have 3 podiums. So Renz would like to break that and take his first win of season 38. But for now, it's looking like it's going to be a difficult task because he does have the Norwegian right with him. And as you said, James, you don't really want to be leading heading into the final lap.
Yep, and Thomason, though, does go for the race lead down in towards turn number 1, however, and Matteo also goes with Brando in towards turn number 1 as well. So Matteo third, Ren Thomason first. I was literally on the top of my tongue about to say, as it stands in the championship, Oscar would be getting over Matteo in terms of the championship, and they would have been level on points. But because that move has just happened for both of them, Ren Thomason now overtakes Cameron Dowd, certainly for third position. Not sure if he does for second on Oscar. In fact, I think he does overtake Oscar for second position. 4 points the difference currently between 16 points and 12. Yeah, 4 points, so they will be actually level on points as it stands in the championship battle. Matteo though still would be leading the championship as it stands. Lap 25 out of 29. There is still a long way to go. 4.5 laps, to be honest, out on track still to go. No sign of a safety car, no sign of a VSC, but a first sign that Matteo was beginning to crack because there was a mistake there coming to the left-handed turn 10.
Yes, and this is kind of the moments where champions or potential champions to be perform well. We've seen in real Formula 1 situations like this with Max Verstappen. When the race win is gone, like it is from Matteo, what does he do to guarantee a large points haul? And large points haul here is going to be third. I'm interested to see how he plays this with his teammate Brando, the two Italian drivers in the Italian cars. You would think there'd be some form of loyalty there, so we'll see how this one plays out. And Marius tries it down the inside of the Ferrari. Cameron Dowd looks to fish it round the long way. He's got one, almost tried to get two, and then almost clips the Ferrari as he turns into the corner. Cameron tried the Ren's move round the outside, but just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, worked on Marius though. Fooney's into 5th position. Marius 7th, 6th. Ryan now involved in this battle. Alpha Gully's not too far off this pace either for this battle for third. Front 2 positions are gone. 3.3 seconds. That gap is now extending away, and that will continue to extend away towards the end of the race. Matteo now having to do the donkey work. Back to your point there about what Matteo has to do. They've got to try, in terms of the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari, get 3rd and 4th position out on track and hold off the bay of Cameron Dowd and Marius. Cameron Dowd, by the way, just going to throw it out there, looks like he's got a second wind out on track because those tyres now beginning to come into life, now beginning to come into play towards the end of the race. It's lap 26 going into lap 27. There's going to be no safety cars or VSCs in this race. Cameron Dowd, he's getting a second win. Is it going to be enough, though, for him to pick up a 3rd place out on track as Tom Roberts picks up a 3-second penalty out on track? His own teammate, Ren Thomason, again on the back of Oscar, currently in P1. Matteo, though, if he loses the position to Brando and loses the position to Cameron Dowd and to Marius and Ryan, championship now changes complete complexion. Brando to the inside line. Cameron Dowd's inside line. Matteo is forfeiting positions like there's something not right. Marius goes into the back of Cameron, though, in towards turn 1. Completely clips the rear end of the car. Cameron Dowd's now looking to try and hold off the attention to Matteo. Matteo now on the outside line. Through the left-hander of turn number 3. Now into the right turn, the double right of turns 4 and 5. And Cameron Dowd just about hangs on. As it stands, Evan, Matteo will not be leading the championship going into next week, into the break week.
Yeah, and what I was saying about Matteo, what he can do in situations like this, the exact same applies to Cameron, and he is performing in a situation like this. Cameron Dowds, on the 16-lap on hard tyres, does have that second win that James was talking about. Marius, unfortunate there, but that's not even the first time that he got close to having that happen to him in towards the first corner. We saw him go for a few dives there. Still with the train, though. Oh, he has just picked up a penalty, but he is still with the train, so something might still come of that for Marius, but in all honesty, 8th position, not a bad result. It's decent points for Marius, something he's not really got time and time again this season. 1 win last season for Marius, of course, in the F2 Championship, so he will take that. The thing about Marius is he's a very good driver. Back in season 35 in F3, he won the championship and he beat Renz and Hazara. Renz is going for the win of this race. So Marius is a good driver. We're just currently seeing him work through some issues and build up his potential. But penultimate lap of the race, it's looking very close here in the battle for the win and the battle for the podium.
Yeah, looking very close indeed. Rens Thomason, by the way, I loved how he was going on to that penultimate lap of the race there. Just dropped off the back of Oscar. 6/7 of a second. Idled into contention right onto the back of him once again. He is looking cool, calm and collected, I've got to say, out on track. And Oscar is ready to be shot at, quite literally, out on track in terms of that Mercedes, that is going to be now the battle for the race win. And Oscar gets a slight slide coming out of turn number 7, brings Rens Thomason back within 0.3 of a second again. It's this part of the track, though, where Oscar is so strong as Owen picks up the fastest lap of the race, takes away any potential fastest lap point from the top 10. Oscar now still leading the way. This is the part of the track, though, where I find that Oscar is normally quicker. At this point in time, Rens Thomason looks quicker. He's all over the back of the Mercedes. For me, Evan, this is only going to go one way going on to the final lap of the race. Rens Thomason all over the back of Oscar. Now coming to the right hand for 16. Final lap, take it away.
Here we go, and it's definitely an interesting one. It's not a multi-car fight for the win, but Rens Thomason is shooting at the Norwegian like an absolute bullet. The Aston Martin flying down the main straight here in Lusail. He definitely not powered by a sail. There's a mad engine in the back of that car. The slipstream, the DRS, it's all working in his favour. Cameron Dowds has got past both the Ferraris. Does Oscar have one last foot in the fight here if he burns his battery in towards the hairpin, where it all went wrong this time last season here at this circuit? For Matteo, for Cameron, it's not going to go wrong for Rens. He is ahead of the Mercedes. Cameron Dowd, so it might go a little bit wrong for. Is there going to be a revenge act here for Brando? Brando dives down the inside. The Alpine is given the shove. The Alpine is given the shoulder. But the Alpine fights back. The power of the Scotsman, the fighting Scotsman, is able to stay in front. He's got Brando all over the rear of his Alpine still. Matteo still looking for the position as well. But Cameron Dowds is still in front of this one. Somehow he survived a lunge attempt from Brando, heading for the final corners. Oscar's getting close to the Aston Martin. James, you said at the last lap that this was a great sector for Oscar. It really is looking like a great sector for Oscar. Okay, we might have a twist in the tail here in Lusail. Can he dive down the inside? No, but he's going to go for the run to the line. It's a decent run for the final corner for Rens Thomason. Oscar's not good enough. Thomason wins for the first time in season 38. A brilliant race for the Aston Martin. It was perfect in the end. Cameron Dowds, 19 lap ball hards, takes a podium. That is the drive of someone who's here to contend.
It was consummate professionalism from him in the final 2 laps from Rens Thomason's perspective. In the end, he dropped off, as I say, Oscar by 6/7 of a second, just idled into contention on the penultimate lap of the race, and I was like, right, he's confident. He is really cocky.
You called it, to be fair.
Couple of laps. And in the end, I absolutely called it. Rens Thomason took that race win, and do you know what? He absolutely deserves it because that was a phenomenal drive. Is that potentially going to be a championship deciding drive from Rens Thomason? Only time will tell. Hopefully we'll get to hear from him. Oscar, though, in second, Cameron Dowd in third. What does that do to the championship? I will work it out in a second, but Rens out on top, Oscar in second. The consummate professional takes the race win in Qatar.
I have to say, Oscar made that a lot more interesting in the final sector than I thought. He really gave it full gusto. But the move had to happen before the final corner. He was never going to win a drag race.
Oh no, he was never going to win a drag race, definitely. And do you know what? I think how Rens approached those final 2 laps, Oscar was there to be shot at. He was there to be absolutely gunned down in towards turn number 1. And in the end, that's what happened. And in the end, Oscar, if he had a little bit of more ERS, if he had a little bit more fight in that car, would have it been a different complexion of the race? Maybe. But Rens Thomason does take that race win out on track, and it was a phenomenal race win as well. Looking at the top 10 as well, Rens Thomason takes the race win. Oscar there in second, Cameron Dowd there in third, Matteo in fourth, Brando in fifth, Ryan there in sixth. Ryan complaining about Brando's car control, which is interesting. Alpha Gully there in seventh, Marius there in eighth, Rondell in ninth, and then Casper Flack, who retired.
I was just going to say.
Crashed out early, picks up a point. They're down in P10. Phenomenal drive from him. Dirk made a mistake, I think, through the final corner. Finished there 11th in the end. Volakongan in 12th. Tom there down in 13th. Not the race for him. Tallez in 14th. Mustache in 15th. Maxwell McGeese in 16th. Barak in 17th. Owen fastest up the race there in 18th. Hazara, full credit to him for continuing on there down in 19th position. Rayen, the only DNFer out on track. Rens Thomason, though, the Dutchman, takes the race win. Oscar there in second. I'll work out the championship in standings in just a second.
Yeah, it's a commendable evening from the two Saubers. I have to give them both credit. Obviously, Hazara, like, it's not going to be a race to remember, really, is it? It was a disaster from start to finish, but he he drove every single lap of the race when there was no hope really for him, bar a safety car. That is just always something I have a lot of respect for. So fair play to Hazara, and fair play to Casper Flack. A disastrous start to the evening. Into the wall on the exit of turn number 1 in Qatar at the start of qualifying, and he drove a very steady drive, a very mature performance to take points. He is the journeyman of PSGL, as I like to call him, and a job well done there. One of the lower ranked champions. Another lower tier ranked champion is Cameron Dowds, who we're going to hear from now. Cameron, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Congratulations on the podium. It all seemed to be going a begging at the end, but you dug in on the last couple of laps and you're here with us now.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough race, to be honest. The strategy just didn't work. Me and Gilly had something in mind, and it just I don't know what went wrong, but the pace felt really good on the hards, and I thought maybe we come out 5 seconds ahead or something, and then we come out and Rennes is in the DRS train of us, and I don't really know. I think I did pretty decent though to get third. I mean, the mediums were still quicker at the end. I think I just caught a few of them napping and then managed to capitalise on it. But P3's decent. It's damage limitation, but it's Oscar and Rennes that have finished in front of me at the end of the day, and they're 2 of the 4 in the championship fight. So it's really not ideal, to be honest.
Yeah, you mentioned the strategy there. Did you expect more drivers to potentially start on that medium?
No, to be honest, I just I don't really think a lot of people would start on the medium, but I just knew that if 2 people start on the medium and they work together just with the DRS and that, I thought it was pretty powerful, and you can come out maybe 4 or 5 seconds ahead, but that just wasn't the case today. I'm not quite sure why, because the pace felt pretty decent.
And then we saw, come the end of the race, we saw you were able to defend from that. Wheel to wheel wise, do you feel like you're getting better every week? Because it certainly looks that way out on circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say wheel to wheel is probably one of my strong points. It's what I enjoy most. Racing's just my favourite, especially wheel to wheel. But yeah, so it's good as well to get experience, and then to be forced into situations like this where you've got to be at the end. There, I had to be really aggressive, trying to make the overtakes on worse tires, and it was good fun. But again, there's just so much pressure at the moment, every race to perform, just because of the championship fight that's going on. Because Oscar, Renz, and Matteo are just performing insane at the moment as well. All 4 of us are just top 4, top 5 every week. So it's just, if one of us slip out of that top 5, it puts you on the back foot so much.
Thank you very much, Cameron. James, any questions?
Yeah, mainly about the strategy that you and Alpha Gully were going to go for. Obviously, you went on a set of medium compound tires. Initially, it worked. I said in commentary, I think on lap 1, that you could have gapped Ren Somerson towards a second. Do you think that would have been a risk that was worth the reward at the end if you did it?
The thing is, I didn't want to gap Renz, because what would have been the ideal thing would be Gully got into second at the start and then we both go away. But if I gap by myself and then Gully's in third, like the DRS swapping every lap gains you half a second if you do it properly. So if I just run away by myself, it's just not going to work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely know what you mean. Indeed, I have done provisional standings as well, and you are currently sitting in fourth place in the standings, going into the break week, and then going, of course, into Monaco in 2 weeks' time. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because Monaco compared to Qatar is a complete different beast.
I don't really like Monaco, to be honest. I mean, if I can just, well, qualifying's not really been my strong point. I performed pretty well today in qualifying, but it's just all about the qualifying around Monaco, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully I'll just be qualifying grind for practice and hopefully start pole. That puts you in a really good place to win that race.
Yeah, you never know what can happen, though. I think going forward within Monaco, it is a complete different beast. As I say, first time in a few seasons that we've had Monaco on the calendar as well. But that is all for me, certainly at least for this interview. Thank you very much, Cameron Dads. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yep, cheers.
Very welcome indeed. I don't think we're going to get Oscar and Renz.
No, unfortunately, I don't think we are. But I very much enjoyed that interview actually with Cameron James. You could clearly tell that there was a clear disappointment there from Cameron, but he knows what went wrong, which is something to build off. And I have to say that was a great little discussion with him.
I think it was a really, really open and honest discussion. I've got to be honest with Cameron. He knows the wrongs of this race. He knows where to work on the rights, and he knows where to take that, of course, going into Monaco in 2 weeks' time. Of course, we have got that break week between now and then. PC, of course, already on that break week this week, which means there's no actual racing for PSGL for once until we get to next week for PC, I think, in Monaco, which, believe it or not, is actually on my birthday. So it's going to be very entertaining indeed. But Evan Dalton, before we end off the stream, let's plug our sponsors, of course, as always.
Yep.
GT Omega, sitting us in our lovely comfy chairs that we are sitting in as well. And they have been the leading sponsor for quite a while, I've got to say, within from season 34 onwards for PSGL. They are the leading manufacturer of gaming peripherals, gaming chairs, sim racing cockpits. Black Friday sale going on as well. Get yourself something PSGL at checkout for 5% off on all GT Omega products. If I can speak, that'd be brilliant. Sim Racing Centre is also PSGL's newest sponsor, of course, from F123. The lead things of all things F124, of course, these days, whether that's a mega setup, expert engineering, or strategy advice, or even one-to-one coaching, or even direct advice from two-time F1 esports champion and WRPC champion Brendan Lee. SRC using the link below and use PSGL to check out 10% off your purchase. There you go.
Yes, and some of you need that help because I've seen you drive. No, definitely check out our sponsors, GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. But folks, that is all we do have time for here. Remember, no race next week. We'll be back in Monaco in 2 weeks' time. Monaco is my favourite track on the F1 calendar. It's some drivers, what's the best way to put this, not favourite track. It's going to be a good race. It is going to be one that you can't miss. So make sure to join myself and James then. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we shall see you very soon. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll catch you next time.